to Chris in Missouri. You're on Sick'em 365 Radio. Thanks for your call.
Hey, guys. Good to talk to you again. Hey, two quick thoughts. One on Big 12 expansion. You guys could do something that no other conference could do. You're in Florida. You're in Texas. If you brought in a Fresno State or a San Diego State, you could recruit the biggest states and have a footprint for basically, all these recruiting areas that wouldn't have otherwise been open. The other thing I wanted to say was I'm a little bit concerned with the NCAA being a toothless tiger. Do you feel with the way we're going that the NCAA, there's not going to be any such thing as recruiting restrictions anymore? I'm afraid the rich teams are just going to be able to buy their players. We're already letting these players come in and get these kombucha deals for money. I mean, I'm a little bit worried that somebody like Texas or Oklahoma will just be able to outbid most of the teams for players they want.
Well, Chris, you're
anyway,
not.
What do you think?
Yeah, Chris, you're not wrong. And there was, I think it was our guy who likes SEC football and nothing else in the chat. Is that Bob? In the chat that said adding Memphis would be a scandal waiting to happen. I'm curious, outside of anything that's like against the actual law, like robbery or murder or something, what a scandal in the NCAA could be now. What's against the rules? Tell me what is against the NCAA rules as we grew up and knew them.
Well, I mean, you can't have a coach like directly hand a paper full envelope of cash
But even
over.
then, those guys are waiting.
But then
to be
he can
punished.
also just say, like, hey, here's your cut of the car dealership sponsorship. I mean, basically, it's like I said the other day, remember Oklahoma with Rhett Bomar and Adrian Peterson and the big debacle that was with Big Red Motors? That would all be free and clear now. Like, you could just, Adrian Peterson doesn't have to work there and doesn't have to pretend that he works there like he was doing back in the day and like Rhett Bomar was doing. They would just flat out do car commercials and get paid out. And like, that's the thing. Like, that's the difference now is they had to have fake jobs to make real money to, somewhat pull them into playing for Oklahoma. It's not the only reason they chose it, but that's part of the deal. And now they could just be spokespeople. So, everything's out in the open and free and clear. But yeah, I mean, barring something just absolutely horrific against the law in general, there's not a lot that they don't.
And the NCAA doesn't adjudicate that. The law does, and then the public does.
Well, the whole time, we were talking a few months ago about the NCAA not having all their ducks in a row, which is like every case that's been out there for the last 5 years. I mean, from Alston to everything else in between, and they're still out there lingering, more and more cases that are piling up and more problems for the NCAA. Toothless is the right word. I don't know what they do. I mean, I honestly don't, and they've had the luxury now of having the whole college football world distracted by realignment and distracted by the season starting, and I have not seen anything here as of late on name, image, likeness, and actually passing one rule for everybody, because that's part of why it's such a Wild West, is that different states have different laws and different schools have different rules. And so where's the update on the broad legislation for name, image, likeness? That's just falling off of a cliff. And would it surprise you at all if that's still not done a year from now? Won't surprise me, because nothing ever gets done by those folks.
You could honestly pass something right now, is take the best parts of all the laws that are pro-athlete and pro-school together, that work the best. Take Florida's and Texas and Georgia's and everybody's law who's got a law. Take a survey of all the university presidents and athletic directors. What works best and what would you like? Write that into a Word document and vote on it in an hour.
That makes way too much sense.
I mean, what do you think?
Way too much sense. Stop making sense.
Yeah, all right.
It's too easy.
Bill in Thornton, Texas.